So when we think about experimentation, there is very much a holy grail, which is A/B testing. But there are many barriers to being able to run A/B tests in products. If you have found yourself facing any of these barriers to experimentation in the past, then out-of-product testing may really be your silver bullet here to move forward. So I think a really critical point is out-of-product testing is not typically a substitute for in-product testing, but it helps you prepare and perhaps de-risk some of the tests that you want to do in product. Do we really even need to do either an in-product test or an out-of-product test? This is something I think we don't always think as clearly about, but if we do want to go the experimentation route, that would mean testing in or out of product. And we can contrast that with what Irrational Labs calls a just do, which means just make a change to your product without going through either of these steps for experimentation. If you do think you might just have a just do, you really want to have almost complete certainty that this will be helpful and really strong evidence from prior literature to support that assumption. Versus experiments, we have hypotheses, but we don't have as much certainty. And so there's some questions we need to answer before we make those changes in product. A first note is that if you have a super applied setting, very specific context, it can be really hard to simulate that mindset, really capture those decisions with an out-of-product test. A second limitation, a lot of times if you have multi-screen flows, of maybe you're thinking about if we change something in this screen and then it affects people's decision making later, that's also a bit hard to simulate in a survey. Third, if you have an extremely specific population of interest, like I want people who use my product and then, canceled their subscription and resubscribed later, it can be hard to track down that specific group via MTurk. And then last, there's no rule or law that you have to debrand your mocks in order to use them in product or in an MTurk study. But for a lot of companies, especially if they're thinking about risk management, might want to debrand some of their mocks, and that can just be costly. So you can think about whether that is feasible for your organization.